All right, good evening. The time is 5 p.m. It is March 24th, 2025. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Argyle ISD Board of Trustees. At this time, we will determine if a quorum is present.
Leona McDade, present.
Josh Westrom, present. Rich McDowell, present.
Leanne Arto, present.
Matt Slayton, present.
I, Sam Slayton, present. We do have a quorum established. The time is still 5 p.m. and we will adjourn to executive session. All right, good evening. The time is 6:12 p.m. We have returned from executive session. This time we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. Everyone join us.
We do, the high school. There they are. Miss Knowles. I was like, wait a minute, there's lots of people. Miss Knowles and Argyle High School is here. So come tell us who you are. Please.
Okay, so this is our flag crew, is what we've named
nice.
ourselves. We decided at the beginning of the school year we needed a group responsible for taking down and putting up the flags each day.
Very nice.
And so I reached out to Nolan, who's one of our seniors, and just said, can you help me? And by the end of the day, he had a crew. They are out there, rain or shine, taking care of our flags, folding it, doing,
Right.
all this stuff you're supposed to do. So I'll let them introduce themselves and then they can lead you.
Hi, my name is Nolan, and I'm involved in scouts and band, and it's really fun to be at the school and realize that interests can be met at the school. And I'm a senior.
Okay, very good.
My name is Jude Carlson. I'm involved in the Superintendent Student Advisory Council, NHS, DECA, Turning Point USA, academic coaching, and something else.
Quite the resume.
I'm involved in a lot.
Uh-huh.
And I really love that there's a lot of really driven people at this school because it holds me accountable, especially as a senior who is facing some senioritis.
Being honest.
Hi, I'm Aaron Oberslet. I am a freshman. I'm in band, scouting, and archery. I really like that all the teachers are very encouraging and they always help you with anything you need.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Lead us away. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
I did. I'll let you. Yes. Dawson.
In 3 years to figure that out. What you said first.
Yes.
Requires performing.
Okay.
With opening prayer first.
We have opening prayer.
Yeah, you're right.
Four out of
We're
seven
going
ain't
in
bad.
order.
Just do what I tell to do. Some of us listen.
Well, we're following the agenda order. Sorry.
All right. Mr. Hawksworth, why don't you lead us in opening prayer, please?
Okay, can we let the kids come in?
Do what you want to do.
All right. Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for our time here together. Thank you for all these students and parents and family who come to support this district as we try to support their kids. Please watch over all the students and staff and administrators as we're on the end run to the school year and into the summer. We're grateful for you and all you do for us, and we love you, Lord. Amen.
Amen. All right.
Thank you.
Now we have our Hilltop Choir here.
All right. And I think we're going out
now,
to see them.
Now you move it.
Okay. We're going to come out here so we can enjoy this from this viewpoint.
Okay. Hey, I'm Bonnie Barkley. I'm the music teacher at Hilltop Elementary. This is the Hilltop Choir. And we came today to sing a song for you guys in honor of Music in Our Schools Month. March is known as Music in Our Schools Month. It's also Art in Our Schools Month, oddly enough. But it's a time when we talk about the importance of music in education and in overall society. So if you want resources on that, feel free to email me at bonnie.barkley@isd.com. But we have a song that we thought would be appropriate for this, and it's called A Brand New Song. And we even have some solos and some trios and even a quartet in it. So if you're one of the people singing a solo trio or a quartet, would you raise your hand? Just almost all of them. Okay, and, anyways, here's a brand new song we hope you enjoy. Thank you so much for having us. That was all we had to share with you tonight. I think they wanted us to stay up here for just a second. But thank you again. Thanks for letting us come.
Y'all stay there.
Stay there. Take a step up.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for sparkling.
No? I could do these together. Or do I need to do them separate?
No.
I didn't have a good look all the way.
We went from the hottest ticket in the town to
Wow.
the coldest ticket, so.
That was amazing.
That was quick. Thank you, Hilltop Choir.
She was gonna say 7:30.
Great performance. So. All right, this time I will entertain a motion to approve action item 7A as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. McDade is a second.
I abstain.
Mrs. Leanne Artho is recusing herself from this motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Wyveline, that's 6-0. Okay. Gotcha. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve action item 7B as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McDowell, second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Okay, we'll go on to the consent items. Can you pull donations up, please? All right, for the March 2025 donations, we have Argyle Band Boosters, $20,000 for the color guard position. Argyle South Elementary PTA, $440 for art night, $1,460 for life skills. Total March donations, $21,900. Does anyone have any questions on any of the consent items we need to discuss? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Matt Slayton, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm giving that to Mr. Westrom with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Sorry, Mrs. Artho, I'll get you
That's
next
okay.
time.
I'll be faster.
Okay. All right, we have a construction report. Good evening, Mr. Cohen.
Hello, good evening.
Are we talking about wind here tonight?
Yes, we can. We've had a lot of it, and unfortunately, that does prevent certain activities at certain times. So we've been fighting that, but still making some progress. So starting with the stadium here, we see a view looking to the south on our home side. So we have managed to pour quite a bit more paving out there. And they've actually poured the fire lane on the left, which you can see in this photo is partially formed, not poured yet. That got poured last week. So the only thing we haven't done is made the tie-in to the existing. But what that does allow us to do is start going vertical this week. So our masonry contractor is out here getting his scaffolds, getting laid out. So over the next 10 days, I'm told we're going to see a 105-foot elevator tower constructed at the end of about 10 days. So that will be something to see. There's also a crane sitting out here. You can actually see it in this photo, but they've now got it assembled and it's ready to go as soon as that masonry gets done. Here you can also see near the field a lot of the columns for the grandstands. So they've been pouring those for the last several weeks. Poured another couple of rounds one over spring break, one last week. Then switching over to our indoor activity center and our visitor side. So in the foreground, the indoor activity center, they've got all the piers installed. They've started to dig grade beams, which they are forming and putting rebar in right now. This plan was to pour that this Friday, although the weather's not looked like that's going to cooperate with us. And then looking to the background, you can see the parking that they've poured on the visitor side. It's about half of it. We have not done any fire lanes there. and they do have all the grandstand columns poured over there. So our visitor side grandstands will arrive first in sometime in April, and we'll see those start being assembled first while they finish the press box structure and all of that glass before they do the grandstands on the home side. So in case there's any questions, that's why they're starting on the visitor side, not because it's more important, but because that's a place we can get them started earlier. This is a little bit closer view of our home side grandstands here in the foreground, so you can see them forming columns there. Again, the parking in the background. At either end of that, you can see the plumbing roughed in for concessions for 2 of them, and then the third one is starting this week on the visitor side. This is just a close-up of one of those concession buildings with all the plumbing installed. Grade beams are dug. They've now got that poured, so once the mason gets the elevator tower constructed, he'll move over and start on the concession buildings. So milestones, press box erection to begin March. The steel will actually not start until April, but we are going to get the masonry going up for the elevator shaft. Indoor Activity Center is still roughly a month out before delivery. We're looking for that building to arrive at the end of April and start construction on that. Visitor grandstand should arrive next month as well to start installation, followed by home side sometime early summer. Our contractual substantial completion is still November, but we do continue work every day to see where we can get contractors in earlier, work faster, and try to improve that date, although I don't have any commitments yet. But right now, if we don't get any significant weather delays, I think we will be able to improve that date. I don't know by what extent yet, but hopefully enough to at least have a few games here. And then as we continue, we'll be pouring more fire lanes. So we've got to have fire lane in place in order to go vertical. So as we get fire lane around, we can continue with vertical construction on the concession stands as we get the fire lane past them. So that's why we got the home side in first. We didn't finish the parking first. We wanted to get started on those buildings, so we jumped over to the fire lanes. We should be seeing the Indoor Activity Center building slab poured, and also the visitor side concession stand. We'll see that get poured. Steel erection will begin here in the next 2 weeks or so. And then masonry, we should see that going this week. Are there any questions? Nope.
No, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
No problem. So moving on to the middle school. And just so you know, I've asked them to give us some more close-up photos. So we'll have a few more slides, a lot more close-up views so we can better see what they're doing out there. There is a lot going on out there. I know these wide overall shots, it's hard to see the detail. I was amazed when I rode around there last week with them just how much was going on that site that you can't get from one of these kind of photos. So here the big thing you can see, of course, is the football field, the turf field going in. So you're looking at the black is the under drainage mat that goes down first. It goes above the drainage, and they've got all the rock flex space that goes in on top of that, and then the turf will install on that. They are putting the asphalt down this week for the track, so we get an asphalt base before we get track surface. So that will be done this week. I know a lot of you probably drive down 407. We're making progress there on our entrances. So the western drive, the asphalt's been complete. So we actually use our west drive now to get into the site instead of the construction entrance. And then they've been doing the grading in preparation for the asphalt on the deceleration lane, which goes from about the Cactus Canyon driveway up to our east driveway. So we should see that work completed fairly soon. A lot of the barricades will come down, and then I think all that will be left will be some restriping to create a center left turn lane in that road, and then we get all those barricades off the road, which will help that immensely.
So have we seen the latest design schematic for 407? Because they started obviously widening it.
I have not seen one in quite a while.
Are they coordinating us in any way with median breaks for our
Yes.
access to the school?
Yes, we have had conversations in the past. We'll continue to coordinate that with them to make sure we get the median breaks when that goes in, when that portion goes in.
Because there is going to be a median in 407.
Yes, it is to be a median divided 6-lane, I
And
believe.
the expectation is that where our entrance is into this site, there will be a left turn.
Yes,
And you'll be able to, it'll be left in, left out.
yes, there should be the availability for left in, left out, although
Left
with
out.
traffic,
Left out
with some
could be
more
risky.
lights, that may improve, but you may not want to make, an unprotected left out because you may sit there a long time and, so I don't imagine there'll be a lot of that. The intent is that people would probably use the light and want to use our light.
I know
Assuming
the
that
no
we
left
get
turn
that.
on 377 really works.
What's that?
I said, I know the no left
Yeah, oh,
turn on
yes.
377 really works.
Yes,
It's a
at
revenue
Cook Street.
generator.
So yes, in this photo, you can see that the asphalt's been completed at the west driveway approach, so we actually now use that, so the construction entrance to access the site.
And the traffic light, we're looking at Gateway, or are we looking at the eastern side?
Well,
of us?
Gateway has been reported to, have a light whenever that comes online.
Right.
And just 2 weeks ago, we actually got our traffic analysis back on our warrant study, and we do meet the warrant for traffic signal on our driveway.
Okay.
So our next steps are to design that signal, and then that goes through the town for approvals and TxDOT for approvals. When we get all that, then we put that out for bid
Okay.
to get the cost on that. So we have been approved. We met the warrant, so we're getting ready to engage that next step.
And would they also, given the distance between the two, and actually even the one on 35, put a light at Gateway?
up to them.
It's up to TxDOT, but I do believe it is over their minimum requirements for
Okay.
separation
Okay.
to have one at the highway, at Gateway, and at our drive.
Okay.
So with those lights installed, once they're all installed, then yeah, I think there'll be a lot more possibility to make those left turns out in some of those instances, because that will actually slow the traffic down, a little bit, and give you those brakes built in when you've got the red lights.
Okay.
This photo is looking from the north to the south. So in the foreground of our photo is our detention area. And we actually own roughly 3 acres on the near side of the creek that runs through there. It's just pretty much undevelopable. There's really not much use for it. So where you see the blue silk fence going around there, that's not our physical property line. It actually crosses the creek you can see in this photo. It's just not a corner that's got a lot of use. So in looking at this photo, there's some parking that you can see has been poured. This is some of the additional parking, alternate parking that we did with the middle school. It was intended as elementary school, but also thinking about the big basketball tournaments they may have in the gyms and wanting to make sure we had enough parking. So we got that in earlier. So it's elementary school parking and event parking. On the left side, you can see another parking lot that's been graded. It's got lime, has been done, it's stabilized, and so now they'll be starting to put in forms and rebar on that very soon. The buildings, that's why I asked for more close-up photos. It's really hard to tell, but they've got all the piers drilled for the building. They poured grade beams for both the gymnasiums last week, and they're continuing to move around, pouring more grade beams, and they'll start on the eastern drive coming into the site this week and getting that poured. That's all lined and ready to go. So looking ahead, expect to complete the paving over the course of about the next month, maybe 6 weeks. Steel erection should begin within that time frame. As soon as we pour the slab for the storm shelter, which is one of the gymnasiums, we'll see our ICF forms go up, so we'll start seeing that come out of the ground. And that will also be the mason, but as soon as he finishes ICF, he'll start work on the second gym, which will be all CMU, and then he'll just follow on around. So some of the milestones that we're tracking, got a permit in August. They completed grading last fall, early winter. And then we're still looking at substantial completion for July. And of course, we'll fill in some other key dates as we get to the point we can start going vertical. We'll put some dry end dates and things like that on here, permanent power, elevator. Any questions?
No.
Nope. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Dr.
Okay.
Carpenter?
Yes, sir. So I have some celebrations. Obviously, the spring is busy. We're coming off of our winter sports and fine arts into the spring, but we've had several fine art programs that excelling recently. From a middle school perspective, Symphonic Band, Symphonic Winds both earned sweepstakes in first division at UIL. So that program continues to be strong. We've had 3 AMS choirs that also won sweepstakes and superior ratings at UIL, and that was both in concert and sight reading. We have the middle school also, TMSCA. We had 9 students qualify in 15 events and go to San Antonio on the 29th, so that's coming up soon. And then AHS Color Guard won the NTCA regionals, and they will compete in the championships this weekend. So strong fine arts programs excelling right now, and several things going on during this season. Athletically, we've got 44 of our track athletes at the middle school have now qualified for Meet of Champions, so we had a strong showing there. State powerlifting this past weekend. If you haven't seen this on social media, Aaron Gomez, who's a senior at Argyle High School, he won the 220-pound class, and his combined total, 2,145 pounds, and he set a state bench press record of over 700 pounds. So, big deal down there at the Texas High School Powerlifting Association. Congratulations to the high school and to Aaron for that. And the team total placed 7th, so excellent job there. And then we had Lauren Mansfield place 2nd in the 165-pound weight class for the girls' state powerlifting. So girls and boys soccer, doubleheader tomorrow night. Both of them are in the second round of playoffs. They play in Kennedale tomorrow evening, and the girls will play first at 6, boys to follow at 8. So an exciting time for both soccer programs as they both were district champions. Won last week, and now we'll get to play a doubleheader. So that fan base will all be in the same place tomorrow night. Baseball, softball's in the middle of district action, and then track and golf will be having district meets next week. So a lot of things going on across the district with our programs. And then last week, if you saw our social media, we had our Teacher of the Year parade. I know some of our trustees were able to join us that could work that in their schedule, but had a great day. We took the bus, we had the drum line, we had cheer, we had our eagle, and we made it a day across the district and celebrated Facebook Live. I think one of the coolest thing about the whole deal is that the family of the winner is in town, and the winners do not know that their families are here. And the look on their faces when we come marching down and they recognize, because there's a lot going on, and then all of a sudden they zone in that their own family has driven in. It gets pretty emotional. So really, really neat experience for them. And then this year, what we added to that is the campuses provided a substitute so that they could actually go spend the rest of the day with their family. And so that was a nice piece to add to that. Just special thank you to Argyle Education Foundation. They provide a cash prize to all of our Teacher of the Years. Pogue Construction also provides a cash prize. And then Justin Ray with Jostens joins us in our parade, and he fits every one of them with a ring, commemorative class ring, if you will, for their Teacher of the Year. And then we also have Emily Holt with Argyle Party and Gifts provides some gifts, and then Eagle Partners a basket. So it's just a wonderful outpouring of support for those Teacher of the Year finalists and the winners on their campus. And our next steps that we will, from a district perspective, we'll be soon looking at an elementary and a secondary Teacher of the Year that will go on and compete at the regional level. So that process continues, and congratulations to everyone involved. A few district updates. So one of the, everyone knows that we have a lot of safety and security requirements that came out of the last legislative session, including intruder audit detection process, also the district vulnerability assessment, which is something new, and TEA is taking 4 years to basically do this at every campus or every district across the state. And you don't really know where you're going to fall in the 4 years, and this is year 1, and we were chosen for year 1, and they started today in the district. So we had 4 campuses have, right, Dr. Daniel? Had the district vulnerability assessment. Everything went very well. Mr. Lemish has done an incredible job. He's our network support and security coordinator. He had our campuses prepared, probably over-prepared, but he's done a great job doing that. And then we have 3 more campus audits tomorrow. But there's over 248 items that are on this rubric, essentially. And so congratulations to our campuses, but also Mr. Lemish. He's done a great job with that and getting that done. But we are one of the early districts, if you will, in the 4-year process, is to have our district vulnerability assessment. I also want to do an update on, for our elementary, 6th grade center, and middle school. We had to announce last week that we were adding 2 minutes, I believe, Dr. Jordan, is that right? 2 minutes to the school day. I wanted to kind of explain that so that everyone understood. So House Bill 2610 was back in, I think, 2015, and that passed for instructional minutes. So students are on instructional minutes every year, not days, which prior to 2015 they were in days. And the high school students here in Argyle attend 450 minutes per day. The other campuses are 445 minutes per day based on their bell schedules. And so that equates to where the high school has essentially 3.87 banked days of minutes a year. The other campuses have 2.02 banked days a year. So you can tell there's a difference there. In the summer of 23, Dr. Jordan and I were kind of both new in our roles, and we started looking at the minutes and when the bells were ringing. And really, the bells, the definition is instructional bell to instructional bell, not when you ring the bell to walk to class, but it's when school starts. And so we wanted to make sure that we were fulfilling that exactly like it was supposed to be. That's where our 450 and 445 come in. And so this year we had two days we missed, and we also had an early release in December when we had the state semifinal football game. So when we missed our 2 days plus the half day, kicked us over on those campuses that only had 2 days banked essentially. So we only needed about 90 minutes. It made sense, instead of trying to take a bad weather day from our families, just to add the 2 minutes to each day from here until the end of the year. So that's how that works. It's not uncommon for districts to go through that. You have some choices there, and we figured that would minimize the distractions, if you will, to family schedules for our Argyle families. So that's why we have the extra 2 minutes on those campuses. Bond 2025, well underway. You are probably seeing a lot of communications from the district coming out, and I know that our district signs have gone out. Remember, anything the district's putting out is fact-based, so if you see our signs, they're going to just be early voting information, voting day information, how many propositions, that kind of stuff. That's what you're gonna see on any district signage. And then you'll see communications messages coming out. You will see soon, you will see dates for our 3 community meetings. And then we also have a lot of videos that we're going to be pushing out. So listening to some of our very busy families, as it is springtime, they asked for on-demand versions of bond information in smaller chunks. So we are working to accommodate that. And then we'll have 3 community meetings. So please make sure you're staying and being informed with that. Collaborative visioning. I think this is something that I'm super excited about. It's essentially a strategic plan for all departments and all goal areas in the district. It's been since 2017, I believe, the last time the district engaged in that activity. So the goals and objectives have aged out. We've had a lot happen since 2017 in terms of education in general. So we have our final committee meeting tomorrow night with that group, and they will be bringing a recommendation in April to the board. What's really exciting about this is it provides us a 5-year framework for achieving the desired results, because this is a community-led process, ensuring our traditions, expectations, and values continue to be the process that we're aligned with as a district. And so it'll help us moving forward with clear direction, focus and efficiency, accountability, and then just a continuous improvement model. So that's exciting, because it's really defining the standard for who we are in Argyle, who we were, who we are, and who we will continue to be. So looking forward to them bringing that to you as a recommendation in April. And then finally, just from a legislative update, we went down February 26th, and we took Maddie Fairchild, teacher at Argyle South, Katie Hayden, assistant principal, Argyle South, Stephen Orlowski, teacher at Argyle High School. Trustees Westrom and Artho went with us. And we spoke in person to several representatives on the Senate side and our House side. And we have continued those conversations since we've arrived back in the district. We will have a legislative live this Friday, so I believe 11:30 on Friday? 11:30, we will have a live YouTube update, and we will actually have our teachers and campus representatives with us on there to talk about their experience and kind of what we know about the legislative session to this point. We still have not had any movement on school funding, so we're still working through that and listening and patiently waiting and anxiously waiting for updates coming out of Austin on that. So we'll keep you posted, continue to stay informed, and you can use Take Action Argyle to reach your representatives. I believe that's it. If you haven't seen my Facebook page and Instagram account, please follow. Lots of good information.
All right, thank you, Dr. Carpenter.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a TASB update. This is information only.
Yes, information only. This is TASB Update 124. Well, there'll be a big one this summer after this legislative session. Hundreds of pages long compared to the few that you received with this one. So this is TASB Update 124, and then there's also two local policy updates. One of these you heard as information only earlier this year, and it dealt with bereavement leave. We currently do not have bereavement leave available for staff, so this is coming back to you just again as information only, which would be 3 days for each employee without a reduction in pay. And then the other local leave is also under DEC local. It is increasing, and this came out of the Teacher Superintendent Advisory Committee meetings, just different ways to, recognize staff and show our appreciation. And so one of those was adding 2 more local days, paid local days, to their annual allotment. And that you did not hear a few months ago. That we decided to bring this all together at one time instead of piecing it together. And so that's the other part of DEC local. So DEC local consists of bereavement leave and 2 additional local personal days.
And that would be in effect for next school year.
For next school year. And then update 124, there's a spreadsheet that backs that up with all of the different updates that were included, but I'll just mention a few of them that were of note. One of them was just some updates to language, one of them being nicotine pouches was not a prohibited item, so that was added. Just clarification on that, and also vaping devices this is for staff. And then there was another requirement that came out of legal as well. This is CPS reporting, that when someone makes a CPS report, they're required to give their name, phone number, business address, and still remain anonymous. And then a third one that was of note is the use of copyright materials. That if you're using a copyright material, this is just a good practice anyway, that it should be part of the daily lesson. It should be directly related to the curriculum, and it should be lawfully obtained. So it's just clarification of policy for that. Along with the other things dealing with GT and fiscal management. Liz may want to speak on that. I'm just kidding. But it's all there for you. Those are just basic policies that TASB's recommended that are
and
local
these are the
updates.
local side. The legal,
Right.
of course, we have no control over, but the local side, the board, we have some flexibility with that, but these are our recommendations.
These are the recommendations from TASB.
So we currently offer 5 paid leave days, personal days,
Yes.
and TASB's recommending?
Nope,
No,
no.
we are.
We are recommending.
We are.
We are.
That one's that one's not related to update 124. That was coming from our teacher advisory council and how we could better support them.
Just maybe a little perk.
Mm-hmm. Just to have us a couple extra days with just physical, mental health, and different things for them.
And does that, how does that compare in the profession, if you know? to what-
5's the low end.
Okay.
I can tell you that. Some districts have done 10. I think most have backed off of that. 7's a good number, but it gives you a little room to grow if you need to do additional. But 5 is definitely the kind of the minimum.
So we'll be back next month.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Chromebooks.
Greg's making you do this, Liz?
I told him not to come up to the podium.
Okay.
But he is here available for any specific questions. Okay. So this will be the first recommended purchase out of the 2024 bond that was specific for technology one-to-one devices from May of '24.
Sorry.
It's okay. All right, so this is for a refresh of grades 6, 7, and 9. This goes back, the recommendation is to move us back to Acer Chromebooks. So we started with Acer when we first started this program. We moved to Dell for quite some time, and right now the Acer Chromebooks look to be the better option for this purchase. The price is a little bit better, the functionality, I believe the on-screen device is better. We're estimating some cost of the case for now. The case hasn't come out for this particular Chromebook, but we're using historical data with a little bit of a buffer in there. So the total amount that we're purchasing is $1,700, and you can see there the total cost not to exceed is just under $800,000. But again, this is from the 2024 bond that was specific for one-to-one devices. This is information only, and then would come back next month for requests for approval.
And what was the total amount, remind me, in the bond for technology?
$6.5 million, I thought.
I believe so.
It was 6.5.
6.5, okay. And this is our first purchase?
It's our first purchase from it, yes. We sold, I believe, half of those bonds this summer to start this.
Remind me, do we have a technology fee in this district or no?
No, you can't.
You can,
You can do,
you
there's
can
optional.
join optionally
We
for an
talked about it.
insurance, but it is not a mandatory fee.
Correct. And there are districts that do it. We did talk about it a little bit last spring during the budgeting process, but yes, you can.
Many years ago, we had a mandatory fee, and then there was a recommendation to move away from that. And so what we came back through that process last year, working on the budget, was an insurance, an optional insurance fee that you could join.
You couldn't even pass off the $35 cover fee to the family.
There's some legality there on when you charge a must for the actual devices.
It's either cover it or pay for the damage.
Right, if you want to join, we made it where you could join upon registration for the insurance, and you got a certain amount for insurance. And how much was covered under that?
It's for the first breakage and then a reduced fee per additional breakage. It was changed years ago, though, where Chromebooks or one-to-one devices are considered like a book, an instructional material, so you can't legally require a fee anymore.
But what you'll find a lot of time, I mean, my experience has been most of the time when it's in your beginning of the year, parents are going to do that. They're going to, I mean, most of the time you have a pretty high percentage of parents participating in that program.
I would think also, I don't know, it seems kind of incongruent to be charging a parent for a case that their tax dollars are actually paying for. So that's kind of like a double charge. So an insurance policy, I get it, but charging them for part of a Chromebook in which they've technically already paid for. So anyway.
It's a better experience for the students as well, because they like to have stickers and make things their own, and you can apply those to a case, but we don't allow them to the Chromebook themselves.
To no one's surprise, I disagree.
But you can also imagine the wear and tear on these devices. We mandate that a case be on there to protect the devices. They're used day in and day out.
And what, I think you had asked, or someone asked, what was the fee? I know you told us how it worked.
It used to be.
It's 75 is what
75.
it's yeah.
Okay.
What's the expected longevity of the Acers?
We're getting about, right now, of Chromebooks in general, about 7 years of use. It's pretty substantial. I'll say one good thing about, we had the Acer rep come in, and they are in, I think it starts with a T, I forget, they're about 2 hours away, their main headquarters and repair facility, and so they're bringing people in, training us on how to repair them properly. Shipment for devices are much faster. there's a lot of pros looking at this model, and not only is the situation for repair, we can get them back in the students' hands faster, but also the specs on this Chromebook are far exceed what Dell offers right now at a lesser price. Originally, Dell was $360 for the comparable Chromebook that was slightly less, but it's very interesting times where prices are changing very fast.
This is the first time you had a quote rescinded?
I have never had somebody or a company take back a quote that they give me, and then here's your new one with your increased price.
And lead time, you're okay on lead time for these, like manufacturing them? It's not like a bus or a band instrument. Okay.
Assuming nothing extremely strange happens in the world, that this would be normal and this is fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this Chris?
Oh, still, it's everybody, we're up here.
Oh,
So-
that's right there. Okay.
He's over posted.
We have too many things going on.
That's right.
11A.
It should be the budget amendment.
There you go.
Okay, so again, we've talked about this for a while. You know, we've had discussions about how our enrollment is above our projections throughout the year. We brought this to you as a formal amendment last month as information, and then again this month for action. This is specific to the general fund. It is our first budget amendment for fiscal year 25, and it brings us up to including all of our enrollment and attendance through the first semester. You know, we do continue to grow, so I would expect another amendment based on student attendance and enrollment later this summer after school has ended. But right now, this is our main amendment, and it is to balance the budget. It also includes all of the items that have been presented under the Superintendent's Teacher Advisory Council that have been brought to you for information and approval, and one of those action items is later tonight on another one-time payment that Mr. or Dr. Daniel would be presenting. So that incorporates all of it.
Does anyone have any questions for Liz? I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11A as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Hawksworth, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Artho with a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, the next one I believe is the purchase above $100,000. This is specifically for band instruments, and again, we talked about this last month. Talked about the fact that Mr. Byrd has to look at his, he's estimating well in advance of what he thinks he may need as far as instruments, and then you have to take into what your students actually are there, what they're using, what you have in inventory, but we're still projecting for next year. They still have to go through all of their instruments fitting and everything for next year, but this is what the best estimate that we can come up with is what's needed. The one change from last month, we did get one more quote in that was not included. We were at $130,000 last month, and we told you that we would have additional items to bring back to you later. Well, we got that in right after the last board meeting, so we've increased this to $137,500, and that includes all the items that we're anticipating purchasing this year for the band to start up for next year. And that includes, bari saxophones, bass clarinets, bassoons, tubas, sousaphones, and some other items.
Mr. Fletcher, you were here to play each of those instruments for us, so let's hear them tonight.
We should have let you go after the choir.
That's right.
Does anyone have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11B as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Matthew Slayton, motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dr. McDade with a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So as Dr. Daniel's coming up to present this item, I wanted just to kind of quickly update. When we had the budget workshop, I believe on March 3rd, one of the requests from the board was direction for us was to get some feedback on the budget priorities, if you will, going into next year for our from staff. So we did that, and it's still open this week. They still have some time to complete that, but we've had 191 submissions so far from our staff, and so we'll be bringing you some of that information. But one thing I did want to clarify that I think has, as I've been listening to some of the questions or conversations I've had with staff, is the conversation with secondary staffing ratio versus what they actually have in class. So we've talked about the staffing ratio or class size ratios, and those words are being used interchangeably of 25-1. And so we were talking with principals this morning, and essentially what you have there is you have a staffing ratio of 25-1. Basically, you start with taking your total enrollment, divide times the multiplier of teaching 6 out of 7, divide by 25, and you get X number of FTEs. That's the starting point. Then you have to start looking at, okay, which staff members are in a class that maybe, we have several coaches in an athletic period, or we have a beginner band class that has just a handful of oboe students. So our next layer of that is we're going to be meeting with principals and Coach Rogers and Mr. Bird to look at that, because some of those teachers don't have 6 of 7, some of them are 5 of 7. And so we're going to have to find some negotiation in that in order, because what's happening is teachers are hearing 25-1, but I have 28, 29, 30-1. And it's because we're missing some sections there. So that's kind of going to be our next layer. So by the time we come back to the next workshop, we should have more information on that. But I just wanted to let you all know that update, but also let our teachers, as those that are listening on, that we're working through different layers of what that looks like, because it's staffing ratio and what you actually have in class are two different things, because the master schedule is driving how many you actually have in class. So wanted to make sure I made that point.
Thank you.
Okay, you heard this agenda item last month. This is the supplemental pay resolution for the one-time payment as an appreciation and as a retention strategy for our teachers and staff. Just to kind of summarize it again, the recommendation is for a one-time payment of $1,000 for professional staff and $500 for paraprofessionals and auxiliary employees. That would be paid on the May paycheck. Some of the eligibility requirements would include having a contract for the next school year and then being here on the first day of school, which is August the 12th. For paraprofessionals and auxiliary staff, there are not contracts. There are things called letters of reasonable assurance. So those employees would have to have a letter of reasonable assurance signed and then be here on the first day. And then if they're not here on that first day of school, then that one-time payment would be pulled out of their final check in August.
Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Daniel? And I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Can I make one comment real quick? Sorry. So the 1,000 for professional employees for the second round and the 1,000 for the first round collectively is just over 3%, correct?
Correct.
On the teacher side, from the teacher midpoint, those two together would be just over 3% for the year. Now, it's not in the base salary.
Right.
Okay, just making sure we had our percentages right. Okay. Sorry, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve action item 11C as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Matthew Slayton with a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ooh, sorry, Dr. McDade with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. The time is 7:07 p.m. and we are adjourned.